great honor to call upon Mr. Natan Sharansky, the chairman of the Jewish Agency for Israel, internationally acclaimed human rights activist, statesman, and renowned prisoner of Zion, to address us today. As you will see in the short video clip to be screened, Mr. Sharansky's story reminds the world that even the most oppressive regimes can be overcome by men of integrity, faith, and courage.
This is the story of one man's courage that ignited a global movement. During the repressive Soviet regime, Natan Sharansky became a leader in the emerging movement of Jews seeking the right to immigrate to Israel. Sharansky was convicted on trumped-up charges of treason. He spent years in Soviet prisons and labor camps. 10 years later, he won freedom and received a hero's welcome in the country he had spent his life trying to reach. Sharansky founded a political party in Israel promoting the absorption of Soviet Jews into society. Powered by the collective will of our people, the Jewish Agency for Israel brought 1 million Soviet Jews home. Natan Sharansky, a symbol of hope for generations of Soviet Jews, a symbol of freedom for the world.
We have come here today to remember, but it is so easy to forget. The last thing that they saw were gas chambers, and we see friendly sun and the lush forest on the horizon. The last thing they heard was death trains pulling into the last station. And we hear the first voices of spring. They were torn from their families, reduced to a number, stripped of their dignity, and sent to their death. We stand here today with loved ones in safety and freedom. I know it is very easy to forget. I myself was born in Ukraine few years after the Holocaust. All my childhood, I was playing in the killing fields of Holocaust and knew nothing about what happened with hundreds of thousands of Jews murdered in this place only a few years ago. My generation knew nothing about those tragic events because our ignorance was a deliberate policy of a Soviet regime that wanted to deprive us of our memory and deny us our identity. That regime understood the power of memory. It understood the power of identity. Soon, my generation would understand its power too. Here, in the most infamous place on earth, the Nazi regime tried to destroy more than our identity. It sought to wipe out a whole people, a whole culture, a whole civilization. The power of memory and the power of identity will protect what they sought to destroy. It is easy to say that the lessons of Auschwitz have been learned. It is easy to say those two magic words, never again. The hard part is giving those words meaning. That is our challenge. That is your challenge. In order to prevent this evil from recurring, all who are here today have obligations. Israel has a very special obligation. Israel emerged in order to guarantee survival of the Jewish people. We fulfill this responsibility by taking seriously the threats made by our enemies to destroy us, and by doing everything in our power to prevent them from carrying out those threats. There is also a special obligation upon all Jews. If the state of Israel is entrusted with safeguarding our people's physical survival, the continuation of Jewish civilization depends on each and every Jew. Our grandparents and their grandparents and their ancestors chose to stay Jewish despite all the persecutions. Will we be determined enough and strong enough to make the same choice? Will we be as true to our identities, living in freedom, as they were living in fear? By choosing to identify ourselves as Jews, by seeing our past as a source of pride and inspiration, and by making that past relevant to our present and our future. The flame that our enemies sought to extinguish here will burn even brighter. It will burn inside each and every one of us, and its collective light will be seen across the world. The Jewish people are not alone in remembering the Holocaust. Young men and women from different nations and different religions stand with us here today. They, like so many millions of dozens across the world, are determined to turn the memory of the Holocaust into a rallying cry for a more humane, more just, and more decent world. That is exactly what Lech Kaczynski, the president of Poland, tried to do, and we owe him a profound debt of gratitude for its moral stand. Dear friends, together we ensure that those who died here are not forgotten. Yes, we look at this nature around, but we see their final moments. We hear their last cries, and we know that their memory has become a part of who we are, of what we stand for, and of the different future we hope to build together. Yeh Zichram Baruch.